Boom. Hello everyone, what's up, what's up? My name's Alan Sakian, I'm the host of Simulation. Today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Stu Zimmerman.
Hello there.
What's up?
Alan, brother.
Yay.
Good to be here with you.
This is going to be a blast. Stu's definitely one of my favorite people. He is raising the vibrational frequency of humanity and getting people more conscious through all of his endeavors. And so I'm really excited to bring him onto Simulation. We're really excited to have a good conversation. Stu's the co-host of Get Conscious Now for 5 years now.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, and so, and then he's also the Chief Emanation Officer, the CEO of Only the Source. And
Yes.
that's been about a year and a half or so. That's a transformational media company. So maybe we chat a little bit about Get Conscious Now, what that's about, and yeah, the name. Get Conscious Now.
Now, exactly. Which is a little bit of a tricky name, only because there's nothing outside of us to get. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, and it's really about exploring, one, the true nature of our physical reality,
Yep.
and two, how can we live a more mindful life, which, of course, with the true nature of our reality, tends to be more connected, more peaceful, more loving, and ultimately much more playful.
Yes. Let's go to the first thing that you said. There's nothing to get outside.
Yes.
So it's all inside, all inward. So we close our eyes, we take a breath, and we really can feel everything that's going on within us and what we can maximize ourselves to be. What else? What else can we get from this?
So,
In.
yeah. So, in going inward, and there is this old kind of line out there that says, ask and you shall receive. And with curiosity, if we really explore what is really true, what is really going on here, starting with myself, and one of the questions I ask myself regularly, and maybe you do too, do I have a choice?
Yeah.
It's that simple. Because most of us are on this automatic pilot based upon all of our prior experiences, the beliefs, preferences. We have our own each of us has our own idea of what's going on, which is frequently based upon limited filters. And so in asking the first question, do I have a choice in this moment? Do I need to respond the same way as I would if I were on autopilot? Just in simply asking the question, the answer is typically, actually, I do have a choice. And that's a great place to start.
Okay, so where would that choice then lead us to? The choice of maybe turning inward and introspection and understanding ourselves better. The choice of what sandwich to get at the deli. Where are we? Yeah, where are we at with this choice?
There are multiple ways to look at it. Let's say, I don't know about you, but I think relationship is perhaps one of the last frontiers. It's like you think you're conscious or awake or enlightened, spend some time with your family or spend some time with your beloved.
Yeah.
And isn't it incredible how whatever buttons and woundings and things needed to be healed, these people who we invite in to be closest with us have this uncanny knack of finding those buttons.
Yeah.
And
even though they're the closest ones to us.
maybe especially because
Exactly.
Because we allow them in, and we invite in that extra layer of intimacy.
Vulnerability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They know us for a longer period of time. Our mom or our dad definitely does, our brother or sister does, and then our intimate partner for sure. I mean, that's almost 24 hours a day in the same bed and all that stuff as them.
Right. So when things come up and maybe a sore spot is hit, what happens? Well, if we pay attention, we probably notice that we begin to breathe a little more shallow and a little more rapid. Our body heat tends to take a couple of notches up, right? And so that's our body's way of telling us, you know what, I'm not happy with this moment, okay? But it doesn't mean that we have to go into our patterns
Yes.
that typically sabotage or recur and keep us in a loop, preventing us from experiencing what we'd really like.
Yes.
And using the body as a great metric for discerning where we are in a given moment, we can say or look at, gee, maybe it's best that I just simply take a step back for a moment. Maybe to breathe, maybe to move a little bit, get a glass of water, something to help to shift the energy a little bit, to see if we can have a different outcome to what otherwise is a repeating pattern that may not serve us so much.
Yes. So there's a couple things there. The first thing brings me to meditation, to what's been practiced for thousands of years. Actually, I've been recently learning about something called the Lindy effect, which initially Nassim Taleb introduced me to, which is that things that have been around for a longer period of time typically end up staying around for a longer period of time. Things that have been around a short period of time tend to go really quickly away from us, fast. So for example, things like maybe the wheel has been around a really long time, and it's still going to be around a long time. It's just one of those things, right? This glass, the shape of this container for liquids, or even for storage and carrying, has been around a really long time. Things like maybe the Bible and religion, or things like meditation has been around such a long time. So I kind of like, versus maybe Snapchat, right? It's been around whatever, 5 years, and people are, and it might be gone in 5 years, probably. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when it comes to something like meditation, I'm like kind of pouncing around Silicon Valley and going, meditate, it's thousands of years old, meditate, and it'll help so much, reduce suffering. And so, when you bring that up, for me, in the terms of a relationship especially, there's so many different things that we can do to change the energy. When would you say it's appropriate to try and maybe take a breath and stay in the same energy and try and solve it, versus maybe say, I'm gonna go get a glass of tea, I'm gonna go and stretch a little, I'm gonna go change my energy and come back? That decision can sometimes be difficult to know when that's right.
Right. So we get to play with it a little bit. Ultimately, rumor has it, you can't make a wrong decision. And so there's a lot of trial and error here. There is no, life is more of an art than it is a science by many measures. And what we're looking at now in terms of things like breathing, sound, movement, they have been around since the beginning of time, that have shifted energy in all kinds of different disciplines. Where I think people hop off and kind of, push it away is because if it comes with any kind of dogma, or if it comes with any other kinds of shoulds and shouldn'ts, or this way is better than that way. And if you do it that way, you're not doing it right, and depending on who I am, you may be going to hell too. So I'm just saying that is something that, even though that's been around a long time, that is actually starting to become less effective in our approach and looking at it more through science, through the lens of science, to engage the rational mind in some curiosity. To see, okay, if it's really true that there's a quantum field of energy that is ever present in all things, then 99.9999999 repeating percent of physical existence is wave, and the balance 0.000001% is matter. That's the real true nature of things. Then scientifically, if somebody asks you what's the matter, the scientific answer is not much. Because we're really wave here. So to have that kind of curiosity, that even though our entire lives have been based on I'm individual, I'm separate from you, I'm separate from you, and definitely separate from the people in Africa, Egypt, Europe, and everywhere else, and perhaps even our president, on another level, if I understand at least cognitively that there is a unified field that we're all a part of, is that worth exploring? And if it is, what are the implications with using some of these age-old tools and apply it perhaps in a slightly different and definitely non-dogmatic way?
Exactly. That's such a key that you bring up, the dogma. Oy. it seems like it's holding us back is all the dogma, especially within the last couple thousand years with religion, and that's been my way is right, my school of thought is right in many ways has been a problem, even with things like science. This science is right, this blank is right, my philosophy is right, and that seems also to be something with meditation, like you're saying, that maybe not isn't the right thing to be prancing around being like meditate, because people will just be like, what happens if I don't meditate? Then what? And then that's when people can be like, well, why is your meditation the best? What about mindfulness? That can be better. And so then it doesn't actually become, optimized down to one thing that people can do. There's all these different ways, like you said, dancing, singing, moving, breathing, all these different kind of ways that we can dance through the world and experience that art form of living. Okay, so we're gonna end up unpacking so much of this. So Get Conscious Now has been going on for a while. We'll put the link in the bio for you guys to check out. And then Only the Source has started up the last year and a half.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about Only the Source.
Great, thank you. Yeah, this is definitely my raison d'être. I know, I'm not big on French, but I'm sorry if I insulted anybody.
What does it mean?
Well, raison d'être means reason for being.
Raison d'être.
Yeah, reason for being. It's like life
being.
purpose. And I am absolutely,
awesome.
in fact, so we are a transformational media company. And our tagline is the next human OS.
Yes.
Where the OS is both an operating system and it does refer back to Only Source as the new OS. Mm-hmm. The old OS, we kind of lightheartedly refer to as original sin, which is really nothing more than a story of separation from that which is infinite. All of a sudden, there's a sense of individuality. I am separate from that, and I'm somehow ashamed in my imperfection. Okay? Mm-hmm. And all of our systems are based on that notion of separation. Mm-hmm. And it's showing up in every area, whether it's in economics and the wide divide of income and wealth distribution. It's showing up in politics with this wide divide, right, and within our own country. So even the term United States isn't exactly a current one, because not one state is united, let alone all of our states being united. That's the real truth of it.
Yeah.
And it goes towards economics, it goes towards the legal system, education, even the family systems. It's okay to love my lineage unconditionally, but everybody else has to earn it, you know? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So all of those systems are based in separation. And with a new OS, which is based on quantum physics, that there's a unified field, whatever it's called, energy, the universe, we call it source, for lack of a better word. It's also an open source, in that because it's infinite and ever-present, there are infinite ways to awaken to that which is already inside of us and all around us. So as you just mentioned,
infinite ways to awaken.
Infinite. So it's an open source, literally.
Yeah, that's where all the dogma doesn't work then.
Exactly. That's where dogma breaks down. That's where guru breaks down.
Yeah.
Because, the gurus, God bless them, they tend to be put on a pedestal.
Yeah, correct.
That's just another form of separation, where I'm not worthy, or guru, do this for me because it's easier than my doing it myself.
Correct.
And so that's just another thing that this really does. It completely democratizes and levels the playing field, that each one of us are every bit, no more or no less, an aspect of this source energy than anybody else.
Yeah. That's so good. So
it feels good.
It feels so good. It feels so right. Now, I must ask, there are lots of people that feel like individualism and individuality is so crucial as well. That does create separationism, me and they. I see that, I feel it, but also knowing how to tap into the collective at the same time, into that unified theory of quantum physics, and understanding how to ride the different waves with people, and how you're not them, you're us, we're us.
Right.
So where do you kind of stand with people wanting to have individualism, but also, Yeah.
So let's consider a blizzard of snow. So you got this massive snowdrift made up of individual snowflakes, all of which having their own unique imprint. We're both. It's like, or ocean, where
That's
it's both the
pretty
drop
good.
of water and the wave.
Body.
And on one level, it's all interconnected and we're all one in that regard. And on another
The
level...
leaf and the tree, the blade of grass and the lawn.
Exactly. Whatever metaphor you want to use, it's all the same.
The snowflakes especially, because each one of them's different.
That's why I used that.
Exactly, versus water droplet. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But that's a good one. Yeah, the blizzard and the snowflake. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and taking this a step further, isn't it a blessing that there is this degree of, call it unique individualization, even as we're all interconnected? So
Yeah, it's a blessing.
With the converse being, if we were all identical, maybe life wouldn't be so interesting.
No. Horrible. Okay, so the individuality of the snowflake, but the collectivist understanding of the blizzard. Okay, I like that. I think that can resonate enough with people. You can be your individual, free
please.
self.
We want that, actually. We need that.
Yeah.
That inspires us to be our individual selves. And there is this other aspect called mystery, okay, that we can all be humble to. That there is something going on here that maybe we never get fully to the bottom of. There is this mystery in terms of why does this universe even exist? What is this source trying to accomplish through its creation of us and all the cycle of life and all the other species out here? What is it doing?
We will get to that at the end of the podcast.
Okay,
for
I look forward to staying tuned myself.
Yeah. Exactly. And maybe we'll never know, but it's very fascinating to dance through life trying to figure it out. I love that, and I really like the blizzard. That's a good one. Individualism. We need you. We need you to be fully self-actualized individually, but also part of the greater understanding of the unification of all of us. Recently I heard this and I thought it was so interesting that it will take the discovery of aliens to understand that we are all one tribe on Earth.
I've seen, I've heard that. What would it take, right? What would it take for us to come together? Because I remember watching Star Trek and stuff. They never had, these are the Republican Vulcans and these are the Democrat Vulcans, and they can't stand each other.
Yeah.
They were always unified within their own planet.
Yes.
They may not have liked the Romulans, but but they were all interconnected as one species. And I found that really interesting. And so, there's nothing like a common enemy to unite us all.
Yeah.
Which is kind of odd.
Yeah.
in a strange way.
In a very, very strange way. And maybe one day we'll even have galactic love, like galactic tribalism, together working.
Right. So let's just start where we are.
Start where we are. Okay. I know. So we'll unpack some things of only the source as we go.
Sure.
And so let's talk. We've already chatted about vibration and energetics and carrying these juicy vibes. Maybe we talk about this because this is something you brought up that I think is important to address, is ushering out the old OS and in the new OS. That's a good way to look at it, I think. But then there's also what can we keep from the old OS and bring it into what we're building with the new OS? Is that fair to say that we're going to keep some things from the old OS, and maybe what are those things?
Well, that's a good question, and I'd love to tell you that I have all the answers to it. I don't. One thing I am pretty certain about is that as we allow our own individual and collective integration into a new OS, which is a vibration of greater delight, greater ease, greater playfulness, greater connectedness, it becomes its own self-organizing principle.
Yeah.
And it's the vibrational presence that decides, picks and chooses. Let's keep this. Thank you very much. Old news there. And that's how we
Yeah.
get to evolve. So I wish I could tell you that I know exactly how it's, because the real truth is it has implications for every aspect of civilization. And I am really humble and curious to see how it would unfold, other than to say, I would imagine that there would be a greater baseline for human existence. Because of our interconnectedness, all that we really need is a little bit of will. And everybody has clean water. Everybody has healthy food access.
Yeah.
And
Shelter.
potentially, and this may sound really bold, free energy.
Correct energy, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that I see are some of the natural consequences. Now, what would have to happen for that to occur, and what kind of evolution would the petroleum industry need to undergo? As one example.
Yes.
And
The Coca-Cola industry and the
exactly,
McDonald's industry.
exactly, and even the political
Yeah.
frameworks and the governments. How would they evolve to allow for this kind of transition?
Wow.
Is kind of curious to see how it would happen, and I do sense it can happen in ways that are really graceful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really important, is the grace, the transitional grace through that period. Ron, is this on point or what?
Sounds good to me,
This-
gentlemen. Keep it up.
Thank you, Ron.
This evolution, I love it. It does seem like it's the natural trajectory of our evolution, but it's going to be tough to. Ron and I talk about this all the time. It's tough to get the governments and the politics all gracefully in order, and the corporations, the petroleum industry, Coca-Cola. It's going to be difficult.
Yes. So let's use this
Yeah.
metaphor
Okay.
of, and you've probably heard it before, for the caterpillar and the butterfly, right? So there are these things inside the caterpillar called imaginal cells, right? That basically have the initial imprint of the butterfly. At some point in its metamorphosis, these cells start to activate.
You speak so beautifully, it's such beautiful analogies.
Well, thank you.
The petroleum industry is a caterpillar, and one day it's going to turn into nuclear fusion butterfly.
Well, you know, yeah, kind of.
Abundant
Well,
water for
hopeful.
everyone.
I know that sounds really Pollyanna, pie in the sky kind of thing. I was kind of taking it more from the global population standpoint. That as we, like those cells of the butterfly, begin to awaken, what happens inside the caterpillar is that at first, the old caterpillar cells see this foreign object inside of itself, and they actually try to quell it or attack it as being a foreign body. However, the vibration of that imaginal cell of the butterfly is so great that not only does it not succumb to the attack, it actually begins to cluster with other like imaginal cells throughout the body of the caterpillar. And as they cluster, they gain critical mass.
Yeah.
And then, to quote another Star Trek reference, as the Borgs would have it, resistance is futile. And so then it begins, and it actually goes to a process where it is kind of gelatinous in that it is neither caterpillar nor butterfly until the cluster continues, and evolves as the butterfly. So taking that metaphor into humanity, as we awaken, and in this vibration of only source existing, and we cluster together, we connect with each other, we start emboldening each other. Perhaps the greatest function that any of us can have is to remind each other of who we really are as these energetic beings capable of so much more than we ordinarily believe.
Wow. That is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the takeaways. We'll bookmark it right here.
Bookmark it right there.
Yeah, remind
Yes.
your most beloved people of who they really are and who they can be. And they can do the same for us, because it's so easy to forget in this world of a lot of information and a lot of it is shock and awe and, rife with separation.
Yeah. Perhaps the greatest thing we can do is to remind one another of
Who and what we really are.
who and what we really are. Yeah. Yeah. How we can tune in to this energy and cluster together and then
become
evolve.
a greater force to be reckoned with. Because as more of us cluster together, and as we do so, I have to say we're having one hell of a great time, or one heaven of a great time, as the case may be, because it feels so delicious just to be in this energy and just free from the negative self-talk to a great, and all the self-deprecating stuff that each of us are so accustomed to doing. And literally creating, through neuroplasticity, of all things, new neural pathways in our brain that confirm that we are essentially happy, loving, good beings here, absolutely graced to be in this life form, because maybe some of the other life forms maybe aren't so interesting. And being human is, top of the food chain for the time being.
Yeah.
And how wonderful is that, that we get to enjoy all the nuances of sound and smell and taste and touch.
And contemplating the cosmos.
Exactly. And being self-aware and noticing how we get to grow and evolve.
Yeah.
There's
and
that
help one another get to that growth and evolution. Yeah, that butterfly evolution. The blizzard, the butterfly. What else is coming from you?
Yeah, I don't know. Keep asking some questions. We'll see what happens.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
It probably is. In the fireside chat we just had with Jordan Peterson, he brought up that very competent people know how to help other people. They know that brings a lot of fulfillment and meaning to people's lives. And I 100% agree. Some of the best feeling that we can get, and it doesn't even matter, even if it's selfish because it makes me feel good. It doesn't matter. You enjoy bringing good to other people because it makes you feel good.
Exactly.
It makes them feel good as well.
It's enlightened self-interest.
Yeah.
It just, I want to change the entire world, or evolve with the entire world into a place of love and joy and peacefulness and playfulness. And I just turned the ripe old age, chronological age of 60. Go believe.
You look so damn good. You look
Thank you.
so damn good.
Thank you. And I feel marvelous.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
God bless. And, and so part of it for me is, I don't know how much more time I have on this planet being in a viable physical vehicle here.
We'd like you as long as possible.
Thank you. And I'm kind of willing to stick around as long as I'm really having a great time.
Good.
Which I'm hopeful is quite longer than I originally thought it would be. And having said that, I am getting this sense of legacy, of impact, to the extent that I could not even be barely a footnote in the history of humanity. If there is something I can do to really help to make this world a better place than what I was born into,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all in for that.
Exactly.
I'm all in for that. And, oh, by the way, I've got 5 kids.
Yep.
So I would love to leave them as much as possible with a world that is substantially more loving, playful, and peaceful and prosperous than what they were born into. And then to the enlightened self-interest piece, in all selfishness, if there's any possibility of having a new era of humanity on this planet, and I think there is a small one, I am very much all in wanting to experience it simply for myself.
Exactly. People ask me, why do you want to live longer than your 80-year-old body can handle? And I say, because self-interest wise, I want to see where we get as a society, how we evolve, how we get there, and I want to usher in that new era as well. I think it is important to call it a new era. I think it is, because if it's not specifically identified as something that is new and different and better, and again, it seems like there's dogma attached to it being better, but at the same time, it really there's so many different ways to get there. I thought what you said earlier about there's so many old parts of the operating system that we will usher in as part of the new, but that's up to us collectively to figure out what they are with our own thoughts and our own energies ourselves, to pick those things and bring them in to what the new operating system ends up being. So, okay.
Yeah, for example, ceremonies,
Okay.
celebrations are really important. And we get to create our own. So in terms of what the old world has, they have some ceremonies of their own, rites of initiation, coming together to celebrate a particular idea. We'll call it a holy day, a holiday. And we get to create our own. So we get to borrow from that, and we also get to, the thought process behind it of bringing more mindfulness, a little more, not every day needs to be business as usual. We could bring in something unique and special just for us to pay attention to and hopefully celebrate one particular aspect of living, and have that be a day or a ceremony that we invite our friends into as a way to both to slow down and to all pay attention to something that is even more life and love affirming than perhaps we see every day.
So it's the celebration. Again, it's the analogy of the celebration. What are we celebrating when we wake up? We're celebrating our life, our weight. We're celebrating oxygen and food and water and shelter and the basic physiological needs that we have. And then are we able to celebrate, slowing down and telling the other person that we're able to tune into this beautiful energy? Okay.
Yeah, I actually have taken, and vows are really important. That's another tool that we use.
That you vow to make the world a better place.
Or whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
We all get to, in our uniqueness,
Yeah.
get to put that in our own words based upon what speaks most to us. So one of the things I've done is, and I like to play with words and I like to have fun, is taking a vow of celibacy.
Yeah.
Not celibacy, celibacy, which is a vow to celebrate at least one aspect of life
Yeah.
every day.
Yes.
And it can be just as simple as
Yes.
waking up and being able to get out of bed,
Yeah.
which some people, unfortunately, don't even have that capability, based on physical impairment. So it could be as simple as that, or it could be as simple as, the sun is shining today, and I just saw a flower.
Yep.
That's blossoming. And that's actually one of the side effects that I notice. And by the way, I'm a work in progress like everybody else here, so I'm not exactly coming from on high here. At least not in this moment, if you know what I mean. Only kidding, everybody. I gotta get the wink. But one thing I notice is when I am in that kind of unitive only source groove, then my sense of beauty is heightened.
Yeah.
Where things that otherwise I may pass right by as being ordinary seem to take on a little bit of an extraordinary kind of hue and aura.
Yeah.
That
correct.
just like,
Yeah.
that's just...
And isn't it unfortunate? There was this quote, Terence McKenna. I had it pinned for a while last month. It got a good amount of attention online after I posted it, but it was what Terence McKenna said was what was happening to him right around the time of his death, which was that he had finally had the most profound sense of beauty that he's ever experienced in his life. As in, even observing ants crawling on the ground and light shining through the leaves just brought him to tears. And I don't think it should take us until the end of our life when we're on our deathbed to see that as such a beautiful part of this earth.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I don't think we have to wait that long.
And I think only the source is going to help us get there. Yeah.
I'm going to do my part.
You
the
definitely
best
do your
I
part.
can.
You do your part so damn well.
Oh, thank you.
Your vibes. I mean, you put me into a moment of celibacy just by being around me.
And that is actually part of the whole thing.
Exactly.
We are contagious, interconnected beings. And we can start simply, another takeaway, you want to do an action item, a call to action? Smile.
Yeah.
We actually, so on our media, on our website, onlythesource.com, we actually have a few original videos. And one of them is called 100 Smiles an Hour.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's the power of smiling. And we literally take off and go behind the scenes to see what's actually happening with our neurotransmitters and biochemistry, even when we fake a smile.
Correct, yeah.
Let alone
Exactly.
when it becomes authentic and then our eyes become involved and then it's more of a full-bodied experience.
Like if you have to hold a pencil in your mouth, they've done those examples with your teeth because then you're forced to smile.
Right.
Yeah, your
Right.
thoughts are happier.
And we all know that when you go to the Safeway or to wherever you go into the checkout line, you smile, you're going to get a smile back more times than not.
Correct.
Even when you're in traffic or walking past these
Exactly.
people on the street.
Exactly.
And that is something that we all get to pass on and see what kind of smileage we can get.
Smileage.
I know. I'm gonna drop that one in there.
Oh, Ron, how true is this though? How true is your feeling right now from Stu that you're getting?
Well, the truth kind of throws me off because we all have various truths. I mean, this
Yeah.
resonates with things that I find to be closer to the truth. But,
Yeah.
true, how true, yes. Good conversation, but
You feel his vibes?
I feel his vibes, but I'm well aware that, there's going to be resistance. Like we were talking last week about trolls. No matter what you do, people, there's going to be resistance to that idea. You love, hate, the hates, love,
Yeah.
love, loves, hate. I don't know.
Maybe we should touch on that a little bit. Is how do you get past that? How do you get
Well, I put the ball in Ron's court. Ron, how do you get past that? Just for yourself. Just for at this
You
point.
have to work on it every day. You can't. You
Yeah.
need to know
Yes.
that you're constantly being attacked from this loving, harmonious truth, one world, one vision, to come together. You can't deny. You can't take for granted when people say there's an effort to divide and conquer. And we.
Right.
I don't dismiss that. I take that seriously, and I want to work and understand people's point of view that I don't necessarily agree with, but
Yeah.
I can only respect and say, hey, it was nice talking to you. I'm going to hang out with these guys and do other things.
So
Yeah,
every
thank-
day,
yeah.
every day is the step towards better loving and caring.
Yes.
And living.
So this is
Yeah,
absolutely a practice. There are absolutely tools that each of us can use, and Ron is absolutely right. A lot of people haven't gotten the memo yet, and they are, God bless them, really entrenched
Yeah.
on doing their best to keep that old world alive because it gives them some kind of empowerment in their
Yeah.
own way. If
Yeah.
they feel they're better than somebody else in their own, God bless them, distorted view of the true nature of reality. I mean, it's been going on so long that all this stuff like greed, violence, shame, all these things which cut to the core of our separation and core to the dysfunction of our civilization and our society.
Low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem. All of that literally are bugs of this old system of separation that have been going on so long throughout the millennia that we basically take it as human nature. When in fact, what if, and this is just a what if here, kids, what if it's simply a bug and a symptom of a faulty program?
Yes.
And if we're able,
Software update.
big if we are able, software update, install a new OS, only source, and use at least our intellectual curiosity, because that is what science is telling us is the true nature of our physical reality. We all know that behind the scenes, our heart pumps blood throughout our entire body. We don't even have to think about it. Generally speaking, we're breathing. We don't even have to think about it. When we smile, we're not even aware that there are neurotransmitters firing away from our brain that are actually, and those neurotransmitters, which we're not also aware of, are actually manufactured in our gut biome. And so to the extent that we are eating things that are healthy, things that promote our healthy gut, that's the factory for these neurotransmitters. So if you're eating crap all day, God bless you, what's going to wind up happening is your inventory of these neurotransmitters ain't going to be so high. And what that means is when it's time to smile, it's like, you know, because you just don't have that basis underneath. So this is an amazingly integrated system with all kinds of new steps, new ways of being that we can do every single day. And just like anything else, it takes 30 to 45 days is what it seems like to start really carving in these new neural pathways to have new habits and new ways of being more firmly established.
You're nailing it. The bugs in the old OS, the software update that you and Ron were talking about, all those bugs, those are serious bugs, and that is how we move forward with this update. Something else that I think that we should talk about is, you know, you talk about 30 days, 45 days, the amount of time that it's going to take to put these habits into our daily lives as something that we live with the smile, that we function differently every single day from the source and understanding it. What are some of these only the source, you know, videos and activities that you guys are recommending?
Thank you.
And also, how do those link directly to that self-actualization and that collective actualization?
Sure. Yeah, thanks for asking, Alan. Yeah, so right now we have 5 unique original videos on our website. One talks about the next human OS, and that's kind of like a corporate manifesto video. Okay, these are all short form, less than 3 minutes each. So you have at it, onlythesource.com. I'm sure the link will be in the bio.
Links in bio, yep.
Yeah, and so there's a couple of other videos that we have that are essentially practices that we can actually engage in. One I mentioned was, 100 smiles an hour. And another one is called Praise the Rays, where we just acknowledge the sun a little bit every day. Even on a cloudy day, it's providing for our existence.
Yes.
And, as the video says, in its own kind of inimitable, light-hearted way, the sun is absolutely an embodiment of unconditional love because it shines no matter what you seem to do.
And it used to be the deity for people for the longest time.
Exactly. And understandably so.
Correct. It provided them with all their food and light, during the day. Heat.
Without it, our world ends.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's also a great example of infinite abundance. Because no matter
close.
Well, to the extent what I meant by that is, okay, if I go out in the sun and I'm suntanning, I'm not taking any less sun away from anybody else.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So even though I'm taking some in, there's plenty for everybody. Knock yourselves out.
And until there's someone behind you getting this.
Right, it was in your shadow. Okay, I'll move over a little bit. Plenty of room. Plenty of room here.
Yeah, for everyone.
Yeah, and we also realize that to live in a new world, we want to create some new words to point to the world that we want to live in.
Neologisms.
Right.
This has been a really important school of thought for me and for so many other people, because you can't describe the new OS with the old language.
Exactly. So we have a couple of new ones for you.
Yes.
One is yesence.
Yesence.
It's the essence of yes.
Ron, yesence.
Also using some old school words, it's being all in and going all out.
Go expand a bit.
Yesence. Being all in, going all out.
Going all out.
Going all out.
Okay.
So whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's in relationship or it's at work or it's at this task or whatever it is, or even at play when you're on the slopes or whatever it is, be all in and go all out. And what that does is nothing else exists. And it brings us into a greater moment of presence.
Presence, yes.
Just and into this eternal moment where this is all that exists right now, and wow.
Yeah.
So So that's that.
So the essence is a tie to the present moment.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And it's a tie with going all in, all out. Yeah. Okay, cool. I like that essence.
Yesence.
Okay, so praise the raise.
Praise the Rays and 100 Miles an Hour
100
are a
miles
couple
an
of
hour.
the kind of exercise type videos and of things that people can do with a very clear call to action.
Yeah, super clear call to
Yeah,
action.
very simple.
Yeah.
The other ones,
And not much dogma. Almost no dogma, pretty much.
to my knowledge,
Who wants to frown? Like, why would you? Oh, frowning's better.
to our sense, all of these videos are universal. And they
Yes.
also include some aspect of science underneath it.
Exactly.
To back up and let people know what's kind of going on subsurface in our own chemistry.
Yeah.
Okay, because everything we do is actually completely integrated with what's going on the inside, even if it's beyond the naked eye to see. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so another new word is beweaving.
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 Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that is
Okay.
where we can't readily discern where one ends and another begins.
Ah, it's interesting.
Beweaving.
Yeah, that's what takes the individualism kind of a little bit further away. There's separationism further
Well, there's
away.
both.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Beweaving. Yeah,
And
yeah.
So we shot that in the Redwood Forest, up in Occidental.
Oh, cool.
Beautiful place, which
Yeah.
is a great metaphor. Metaphor time.
Yeah.
A great metaphor of our reality in that they appear to be individual trees, yet very shallowly beneath the forest floor, their roots are completely intertwined and interconnected.
Yes.
So are they really separate trees, or are they ultimately kind of like one organism?
It's like ones that intake more carbon end up sharing it with the ones that get less.
Yeah.
They're speaking. They're communicating with one another.
And they're communicating with us. I mean, they essentially breathe in our carbon dioxide and they turn it into oxygen. We breathe in what they exhale oxygen.
Exactly.
We take that in,
Yeah.
and it has that kind of beautiful, whatever you call that. I lost the word
you
for a
get
moment.
shot-
Je ne sais quoi.
Thank you very much.
Did what was the other one? Reason for life, reason for living, raison.
Raison d'être. That's
Raison
French.
d'être.
That's just French.
I love that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So lessons are.
Yeah, so the new words, beweaving, and yesence. We've got a couple in the pipeline that we're in the process of developing. I could give you a little spoiler alert.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that kind of goes towards what we were talking earlier about our uniqueness.
Yeah.
And that is Embracism.
Embracism.
Embracism is an antonym to racism. And specifically, it goes beyond tolerance and acceptance to the celebration
It's a celebration.
of our diversity.
Great. Yeah.
Thank God you're different than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love you. We
Yeah.
have some similarities, and I am
Exactly.
so grateful you're different than me.
Yeah, exactly.
I get to learn from you. I get to relish in your experience.
That's perfect.
And I also get to be really curious. Wow, that sounds kinky. That turns you on? Cool. Rather than going into judgment around it, oh, that turns you on, and that doesn't turn me on. There must be something wrong with either you or me.
Perfect. Embracism.
Embracism.
An antonym of racism.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know it's
good.
timely also. We got to get this one out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
too.
and another
Thank
one-
God you're different from me, so I
Yes.
can learn from you. No judgment. Yeah.
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 That's great.
And another one is returnity.
Returnity.
Yes, and that's when we are in a timeless state again.
Expand a bit.
So we live life and we're on the clock. Okay? We're going through the motions, we're doing what we're doing. I got to be somewhere in an hour.
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing, and we're on this linear timeline.
Yeah.
Every now and then, we get in these moments where we can just look in each other's eye and just have that sense of connection.
Yeah, and it just everything else.
Everything else melts away. And we go into a timeless state, even just for a moment. And in that timeless state, that is returnity.
Returnity.
Returnity. So it's kind of return and eternity.
And is the point to return to that state? Is that why it's called returnity? Because you're trying to get more people to
Well,
return to
yeah,
it?
I think that one of the beautiful side effects of being in only source consciousness and in that operating system is that essentially it is timeless and eternal. And we tap into that timeless state. And my sense is we do have more linear moments of timelessness when we are in the new OS.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that time dissolves. Although maybe at some point it does. Maybe we go past the fourth dimension of time into the fifth dimension of whatever that is. And, but without getting too cosmic around it, it can just simply be enough that we have more moments of beauty, timelessness, and more moments of extraordinariness in the ordinary moments.
Yep. You guys are so on point. I love you so much and your team so
Yay.
much. I love you guys so much. I'm so happy that you guys went forward with neologisms, with new words to describe the new OS. But something that's interesting that we should just chat about a little bit is that you're taking old words and what I imagine you guys are doing is you're writing down these words and then you're throwing kind of different intros, prefixes,
suffixes.
That's
Right.
exactly. You're exactly. And so that's what I imagine your activity is right now, is these beautiful
Well,
words.
what's one of them? Yeah.
Prefixes, suffixes, and stuff. As I think that's really good because these words already mean something to people.
Yes.
That's what's good because they already mean something.
Helps them migrate.
Embracism helps them migrate,
Yeah.
right? I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Versus, let me give you a little quick neologism from Kurt Vonnegut from one of his books that he wrote, which had a science fictional race of aliens called the Tralfamadorians, and so they were famous for knowing how they could look at an item such as, let's say, this wood table, and they could tell you the entire past history, the entire present moment, and the entire future of this table. So
That's cool.
Yeah, so stuff like that. Again, so it's important to know that this used to be a tree made into a table, assembled in this way with the different color as well and the different shapes, and in the future it will likely get recycled into something else. And so just again, it wasn't a word like recyclopolis or whatever, right? It wasn't a new word. It wasn't a new word on the old understanding with the old word and just adding a prefix or suffix. It was a completely different science fictional.
A whole new word.
Word.
Right.
Maybe that is something that is of interest as well, because sometimes we might not be able to come up with a...
You mean like Google?
Yeah, like Google. Yeah.
Which I guess kind of refers to a Googleplex. But
Yeah.
just the same, it's still new enough that it kind of came out of the blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe there is some sort of
Sure.
new words that need to be created that haven't been written in human language quite
Right.
yet, but that are in our path that will help us understand, like, what is a good word for the deep empathy with someone else? Maybe Embracism is getting there, right? Things like that. Or what is maybe a word for the understanding of the cosmic scale. So maybe if you really get the deep understanding of how long everything's been around, it really dwarfs your ego. Is there a word for that? Ego death, right? What exactly?
Right.
What are these
Right.
words that really can transform people? That's been something that I've been really interested in, and it's good that you guys are coming up with that.
You know what? I don't have the monopoly on all new words. So let's all create this new language together.
Yeah.
Anybody out there, if you got any ideas,
Yeah.
please reach out to us, because it's it is a wide open field.
Yeah, I'm really happy you guys are going with the new words, and even like you said, it's the neologisms when they relate to older words, they with different prefixes, suffixes, it helps them usher in the new OS. Embracism. What was it called? Smileable.
What, Smileage? I mentioned.
Smileage.
Yeah, get
it.
more Smileage in your life.
Yeah, how many miles have you smiled today?
Right.
Yeah, Smileage. We have to put these words in the bio as well. We have to put
Okay.
these analogies and the
Okay.
words in the bio as
Okay.
well. All of them. So we will do that for everyone, just so that...
Well, thank you.
Okay, so The things that we've been talking about have been the tools that you guys are developing this last bit, the tools that you're developing to help people become more actualized as well as the collective more actualized. So you listed the video content. So this is videos and activities that you
Right.
recommend people to do. What else?
Yeah, thank you. So we are starting to package now some of the video content and some other exercises into a form of online courses so that it actually becomes much more of a learning. Because even as Ron mentioned earlier, there are practices that people need to do every single day and new ways of playing with this vehicle and having
Yes.
greater influence over how we experience life through breathing, sound, movement, vows. There are a number of things that are highly predictable in terms of not only shifting our energy rather quickly, because that's what science has it do, Thank you very much. And whoever created this thing.
Yeah.
And as well as just getting that kind of reinforcement and some degree of accountability to help ensure that real transformation occurs. Because we want people to live the most amazing life they possibly can. And so online courses, live events, where we kind of look at live events. If online courses are kind of like the old version of like the CD or the music compilation, the live event is like a concert. Because that's where you go and you are actually connected with all these other people simultaneously, so you get into the group field that you don't get when you're in an online course to the same degree.
Yeah.
And that way, we actually get to offer some processes where people get to interconnect with each other.
Yes.
And that helps even further with the integration. So now it's just not a person sitting behind a computer learning how to breathe and expand and make sounds and move in ways that expand their own energy field, but that the people around them may not quite have gotten that memo yet, and they, can feel a little isolated by, where's the rest of the party,
What was the word?
Beweaving?
Beweaving. Yeah.
Beweaving.
Yeah.
And so, in person, offering up some events, exercises where people can, connect eye to eye, heart to heart, maybe do a little energy exercise.
Always.
And start feeling that interconnectivity that actually substantially increases the integration, makes it more real because you're doing it now with a lot of other people. It also helps to create community, which is something that people really want. And these cell phones of ours are really like a double-edged sword. And in some ways, it really enhances communication. In other ways, it's a little divisive in terms of creating real community when it's a lot easier for people to go and play Candy Crush or whatever they're doing on their phone and not connecting with others.
Yeah. It's much more difficult to go to a live event where you're forced out of your comfort zone to beweave with people and embracism
and we invite actually that we go beyond.
It's worth way more than crushing candies. And
stuff. Exactly. And the comfort zone piece. I mean, anytime we grow, we're typically growing beyond what was comfortable.
Exactly.
And yet, we can also create a really warm and playful environment to have that experience in, whether it's on online courses or whether it's in person. And the third piece to our stool here is ongoing integration support by coaches and counselors, healers, whatever it is that individuals may have in their own life experience that I won't say is unique to them, but it's certainly personal to them and may not be addressed in a group setting. So there are all kinds of people with all kinds of PTSDs in various forms related to either something that would be under the Me Too category or something that happened at work with discrimination or troubling childhood or physical issues, things that may not be fully addressed in a group setting. It's like no soul left behind. We want anybody who is interested in getting support and or further integration beyond the event or beyond the online course, because God bless, there's a lot of great stuff out there. But one of the things we've noticed that may be lacking in a lot of cases is how do you get beyond the weekend high? You have this great experience. I've been to this seminar. Wow, my heart is open. The life is amazing. I go back to work and,
It's the daily activities
Exactly.
that have to come with it. The Smileage and a little bit of love for the sun every day.
there's a whole bunch. And again, no dogma. Pick and choose what works for
What
you.
works for you.
And the good news is there are literally infinite ways
Yeah.
to awaken to that which is already ever present within us.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are offering some
so
in ways
good.
that are humorous and lighthearted and
So
accessible. But you know what? If you have things that work for you, maybe you should reach out and let us know.
And we can make a whole activity out of it and share it with the following. Share it with everyone. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
instead of just what you're practicing. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
we all have pieces to a puzzle that can have literally that new era of humanity.
Exactly.
We all have a role to play. So I'm inviting you all, whatever your inspiration is, please share.
Yeah, create with us the new era of this operating system of only the source. Because it's going to be completely, like you said, there's no dogmas. Different people can contribute differently to what this new OS is, and let's share whatever is true to people in their way of unleashing themselves to the world. Let's bring that to other people through these different activities.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Do you mind if I bring in one thing of ancient wisdom?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so one piece of ancient wisdom has it that whether it's the second coming of Christ or Buddha's reappearance on this planet, it comes in the form of a group. It's not an individual. So that means that any one of you, us, could be part of the second coming of Christ and or the second appearance of the Buddha consciousness on our planet. So just to offer that up as, the old school would have it, it's got to come in the form of an individual being. It's actually, it can easily come in the form of a collective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might even be that the collective, ushering it in collectively, ends up affecting more than an individual. Maybe, because with the technology, I can give an example of
Please.
something like if, with potential technology like blockchain that could have been made by one person. And if it was made by one person, then that could usher in a whole new era with one person's effect into that whole new era of how people interact. And so that can also be fairly interesting. But
And individuals certainly have their own contribution to make.
absolutely.
So blockchain may be one contribution, Google may be another. People
Correct.
get coming things from different angles.
Yeah.
And then it's just simply a matter of how do we put all these pieces together in a way that is interconnected, holistic, and inspiring to us all.
Yeah, you really radiate the love, and you really radiate the dance, the energy. You're infectious. I love
Well,
it.
thank you. And I got to tell you, in all humility and vulnerability, I'm human. I've got plenty of moments
Yeah, me
of
too.
contraction
Yeah.
and just wondering, WTF.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you caught me on a good day.
Yeah.
No, but and I'm also aware that this is a migratory process
Yeah.
because as energy beings, one thing that we know energy does is it modulates. So it's kind of like a sine wave type of frequency. So we're going to have moments that feel like dips, even if for no reason we have low blood sugar.
Yeah.
Let alone a
Correct.
thought crosses our mind that feels a little self-deprecating or challenging, or they didn't do what I wanted them to do when they said they would do it, and then the energy drops.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can do is kind of steer this energetic sine wave vibration to hopefully a higher spectrum, so that we have higher highs and higher lows in our life. We have the lows, but maybe even our lows can become higher than they used to be as our highs. In fact, I used to be a money manager in the stock market, go believe,
Mm-hmm.
and I did that for 18 years, the financial industry.
That's
And-
why you're who you are today.
Well, it's one of the reasons, I guess.
I'd say so.
And what's interesting about that is the classic definition of a bull market is a series and a trend of higher highs and higher lows. So even when people are making money hand over fist in a bull market, there's still going to be down days. And so that's something that we can all take to heart, that even if we can hopefully have a personal bull market, if you will, where our own personal stock continues to rise as our energies kind of just continue to hopefully lighten up and feel more delicious and delightful and playful and loving on a regular basis, we're still going to have moments that aren't going to feel that way.
Interesting. So we can even break this down mathematically as a stock. So if let's say your x-axis is time, your age, x-axis is age, and then your y-axis is your overall sense of flourishing, let's say. If we experience over, let's say, after we get to like 20 or so, at that point we seem to be fairly decently more conscious of happiness and sadness and our overall flourishing. At that point then, we get to decide whether or not we kind of skyrocket through these activities and through these ways that we get to become our fullest potential and really drink from this unification theory of everything. And we can then rise up until the point where our lows even seem like they're super high still throughout the rest of our life, versus if we're living down here later at our life in terms of our overall flourishing.
Exactly.
I really enjoy how we can break it down like a stock.
Well, math. And now consider the possibility.
We should turn that into a video.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah. Thank you for that. I love that graphic.
Let's use that one. Let's use like a stock.
Yeah.
Treat your life like a stock.
The personal bull market.
The personal bull market, yeah.
I actually wrote about it. I actually wrote a book once upon a time called Inner Security and Infinite Wealth, Merging Self-Worth and Net Worth. Oh. And I took the principles from the financial world, and I couldn't, because I love playing with words, I couldn't help but notice how many words in the financial industry have dual meanings that have greater than financial meaning.
That's a good point.
And so wrote this book and noticed that there were 8 everyday, very simple financial concepts that have greater than financial meaning to create security and wealth beyond money.
Beyond money.
So that's what kind of, like words like will, trust, and appreciation.
Oh yeah, those are huge.
Yeah, they all have application in the financial world.
Yeah.
They all have application in creating the kind of wealth that money can't buy.
So interesting, yeah. And I bet if you look up appreciation, only the second or the third definition is related to finance. The first definition is related to humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And appreciation has a lot of components to it. It has the heart-based sense of gratitude, and it also has the mental capacity of understanding. So I can appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Yeah, and so it's real. And of course, appreciation is nothing more than an increase of value.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. This has been so good. We'll definitely have to do, another whole beautiful session again to really dive, even more interesting paths of all of this.
Yeah.
And to help make more content for Only the Source. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. Oh, by the way, if I could come back for one moment here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks.
Yeah.
When you talked about that graph, and it was a great graph because I could visualize it. So you're in your 30s or whatever you are, right? And there are a lot of millennials out there. They're forming families right now.
Yeah.
What if the kids that are being born now were born into this world with this kind of understanding from the very beginning?
Perfect segue into exactly the next question that I was going to ask.
Thank you.
Exactly. And the essence of this next question that I wanted to ask was about what is the sort of ideal, I always ask it in the specific way. I like talking about the story leading up to the question, which is we've done such a good job as a civilization to stamp out these humans into the world with enough water and food and basic physiological needs. We've done a pretty good job of doing that. There are still certain parts in the world that need a little bit development so that they don't suffer as much, but we're kind of missing a little chip on it. And I've given you guys at Only Source this whole analogy before, but that little chip that's missing maybe on the shoulder area of the human mold, it could be that essence of what you're describing right now, which is, what if these millennials, the millennials that are 25 to 35 that are having kids right now, and birthing them into the world, what if they could enrich their child with adding that missing chip of the shoulder on that mold, and those activities might be the thing like the Smileage, like it might be things like Embracism, Beweaving, praising the rays.
Right. There's a whole bunch
of stuff.
Yeah.
So what are these collectively? What are these activities or experiences that we're going to describe to the children, so that way they can grow into this new OS as optimally as possible? And again, it's the responsibility of the parent. You are the God of the child, so it's up to you to communicate these things to the child and get them ready for the world that they're about to live in.
Yes. And ideally, it extends to the teachers. It
Exactly.
extends to to the environment.
Community,
And so
yeah.
that's really what excites me, is that we and I think the tipping point could be a lot sooner than we'd otherwise believe, that there's a whole spate of new kids coming out into the world that can get this awareness from the very beginning. In fact, they kind of have it already, and maybe we already had it, and it got socialized out of us. Because of being in a structure with our parents living in the old OS, living in all the fears and all the constraints and all the scarcity consciousness and all the rest that has been, layered upon us, that we have to essentially, unlearn.
Yeah.
Or otherwise release and shed.
Yeah, I like that. Unlearn and release and shed kind of the old OS.
Yeah.
The old aspects of the old OS that are not beneficial
And
for our flourishing.
and I got, and Ron.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard. That's why a lot of.
Yeah.
That's why it's just hard. I think a lot of people are inherently understand this inside, but the biggest challenge is its difficulty, and it's hard.
To shed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
okay. So you consider a 10,000-mile journey starts in the first mile. So you start wherever you are, and that's the good thing. That maybe it's not necessarily a matter of going from 0 to nirvana in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It may simply be a matter of, if I could take my energy and just move it a little bit.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden I realize, okay, maybe like kids walking, maybe it's crawling before walking before running.
Yes.
And but there's a compounding and building upon
Correct.
each other.
One more
If-
mile of Smileage.
If it takes a whole lifetime just to get a few steps ahead, it's still worth it.
Yeah. Because you
Yeah.
ended up getting ahead. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And-
People can also, you can fall back. You can
Absolutely.
Come in, if your goal is to be a better person than when you came in, it seems as if a lot of people are worse off going out than when they came in. What they knew as a child, as a young person,
Yeah.
they just got crushed and stomped
Yeah,
on and
yeah.
Right.
reprogrammed. So
Right.
Yeah. The
And-
bugs, the software
yes.
bugs took
And
it. Yeah.
yes, and those bugs are insidious.
Yes.
And even if you think, I'll speak for myself, even when I think I've reached a certain level of awareness and awakening, whatever you want to call it, you know what? I always find a way
bug.
where I get humbled by that bug that shows
Exactly.
up, and I start beating myself up, or
Yeah.
I just start going into a place of fear
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
why is the world the way it is?
Yes. And let's loop this all the way to the beginning before we end, is that at the beginning we talked about relationships. And it can be your relationship with your kids, it can be your relationship with your partner, it can be your relationship with your parents, but the bugs tend to show up a lot in those areas
Yes.
of time. Because when you see a stranger on the street, you're typically not as willing to push that button for to have you're more likely to be stranger friendly to that person, have some Smileage with that person. But then when you get home, you have a little bit of Smileage, but then you're spending an hour with that person, and then it might, with your kids might run and like break something, or like stomp on your foot or whatever to test you or play with you, etc. So just to bring it back to the beginning, that it's interesting how a lot of the bugs lie in the moments of the most intimate with our closest people. And then that's actually interestingly where we can usher in a lot of the new OS is within those moments that are the bugs of the close relationships.
Right, exactly. And if we can remember to be gentle with ourselves
Yes.
and each other in that process, it can make a big difference. And, really literally at the end of the day, we only have one life partner, and that's ourselves.
Yeah.
Where we,
Amen.
Amen.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that, please, if there's any takeaway, just please be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
Because deeply humble to how insidious this program is that we've been socialized into. And we all have a litany of experiences that confirm how difficult life is, how separate we are from one another, even if it's completely, ultimately, one massive illusion. And that the true nature of our physical reality is that we are interconnected as energy waves or dancing subatomic particles, however you want to describe the physical nature of reality. And that really is the truth of it. And how can we utilize that with curiosity and what's possible here? And my sense is, just like has been promised in some of the old scriptures, that there can be a new era, there can be something that's a heavenly existence here. And, it's time. Science is actually showing up, and the bugs are being so pronounced in their demonstration that, that the choice actually is becoming clearer and clearer, and complacency really is becoming less of an option.
I love it. Okay, so last couple thoughts before we close out is let's ask you a couple of our simulation questions. So first off, we'll try and wrap these up fast, but do you believe that there is a global ruling elite?
Yeah, I kind of do. And, I'm sure they're very proud of themselves.
Who are they?
That I can't really know. I mean, one would think that it's people who have substantial influence over financial wealth and substantial influence, therefore, over governmental policies.
Yeah.
And as to who they are by name,
Yeah.
I really don't know so much, other than just like old, God bless you guys, just like old cells of the caterpillar, there is a new vibration that is seeking to emerge, and it is so delightful that it cannot be denied. It will not be denied. And these power brokers may actually, whether they go down kicking and screaming, or they go down in a flame of, oh, finally, I'm relieved of the burden of having not to try to control everything all the time, which takes up a lot of energy, believe it or not.
Yeah. Should one endeavor to join the global ruling elite?
Is this a new question?
I don't know.
This is a new question.
Would you join any club that would have you as a member? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I've had one possibility. There are numerous ways in which we could all be evolving into a new era. And one of them could possibly be getting together with this global elite and offering them the tools of awareness and consciousness, because they, more than anybody, one, they know what money can't buy, because they got the shit ton of it, pardon the expression, and they know what it doesn't buy.
Yeah.
And everything that money is prescribed as some kind of the virtue, kind of like, God incarnate, and that if you have enough of it, you're going to have a happy existence.
Interesting. They know what money can't buy.
That's right, because they have it.
Yeah.
And they know what power can't buy. They know all the areas in life that have not been cured by whatever they have going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so having this piece and just dropping into that is something that can allow for them to open their hearts and connect with people in ways they've never connected before, which is absolutely one of the beauties of being incarnate as a human.
Yes. Okay, next up is, are we alone in the cosmos?
I find it hard to believe that somehow that there's that there's not even a multiverse. That if we're just a universe, I imagine actually that this entire universe may simply be like a dingleberry on the ass of some massive being that we can't even contemplate, that is filled and comprised of multiverses and having all kinds of experiences that we can't even begin to fathom right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yet somehow our problems seem to be really big.
Yeah. Okay, good answer. I like that one. Yeah, it's super short and sweet and to the point. That was good. Yeah. Okay. And
I hope I passed this quiz.
that was. I hope I passed the quiz.
I didn't know these questions in advance.
That was a really good answer, and we'll unpack that one potentially more in our next convo. Okay, next up is, are we in a computer simulation?
We may be. We may be. In fact, given that ultimately it's just an energetic field of energy that we all are, vibrating at various frequencies, creating this illusion of solidity, when in fact it's simply nothing more than energy vibrating at a denser frequency. I've been wondering whether all of this existence is actually a dream in the mind of some greater intelligence that is dreaming all of us up simultaneously, and somehow we just haven't been informed that none of this is real. And so we're kind of buying our own
bullshit.
Essentially so, or at least misperception.
Misperception, yeah. You referenced this at the beginning, so I figured your answer would be somewhat along these lines, because you mentioned the higher being the creator of whatever we are experiencing, whether that be the simulator of the universe or the creator of the universe or whatever, of the multiverses, whatever that be. You mentioned at the beginning, so I figured you would have an interesting answer at the end, which you did. Okay, and all right, lastly, is, what is the most beautiful thing in the world?
I would say that we get to exist in this form. But that is incredibly beautiful. And in this form also implies that the capabilities that we have that come with being in this form. So the ability to taste chocolate, for example.
To have sex.
Have sex, exactly. To grow and not be locked in, so that I actually feel like even in this lifetime, I've been reincarnated several times in the same body. So that my life as a money manager in the stock market, completely separate life.
My high school life, completely separate.
High school,
completely separate life,
Elementary school, completely separate. And to have that spectrum of experience, which is so incredible. And now to be at a chronological age of 60, where there are moments where I am very much feeling like a teenager, and even acting like one. In some cases, embarrassingly so. It's amazing to be able to slide up and down this time spectrum, and that I know kids in their 20s who can also do the same and access like wisdom far beyond their years. And so maybe some of you are watching right now. Point being is, we have this facility, and so I know I'm saying that there is like all these nuances to this, what is the most beautiful thing in the world. But one of the things that is an aspect of that is our ability to awaken
Yeah.
and to grow and to
Yes.
expand and to open our hearts and maybe in a word, to love. To have that vibration of love, whether it's for that piece of chocolate or the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry popping threes from midcourt.
Yeah.
Or whether it's, just, again, being able to have just amazing, beautiful, orgasmic, teeth-rattling delight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love your answer to that. The just being and then also growing. Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, wow, such a powerful session. I'm blessed to be able to pass time with you.
Alan, I love you, brother. You're fabulous.
Thank you.
You're fabulous. May I offer everybody a gift? Just
Yeah,
real
let's
quickly.
do it.
Okay, so we just recently had our first event. It was mostly a private event in New York City at a gallery that was featuring these amazing Indonesian gongs called gamelans. And one of the things that does help to shift our energy field reliably is sound.
Yes.
Whether it's internally generated or externally coming our way. And those gongs are amazing. And the fellow who put them together is actually the antithesis of a starving artist in that his exhibition is now going to the Smithsonian
Wow.
from this place, just to let you know. Okay, so be an artist, you never know, you could actually get the kind of support. This gentleman, his name is Aaron Taylor Kuffner, and he has provided us with an MP3 song. These are actually robotically controlled gongs, and these gongs are formed in orchestras to have 6 or 7 in a cluster, and he's created an MP3 for us, or MP4, whatever it is, it's an audio, that I would love to offer anybody who wants to be activated through some of these amazing celestial gongs that will shift your energy for shizzle. And so if you just...
For shizzle.
Oh, did I drop that?
Did you?
Oh,
I love it. For
okay,
shizzle.
okay, it's a little Austin Powers
No,
there.
it's good. I dig it.
Okay.
I dig it.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah. So
Wow.
just
Robotically controlled.
robotically controlled, so he actually does it off his iPad.
And so did he actually go and he took the
He
piece of
made
metal
them.
and-
Oh yeah. He made them. He shaped them. He banged them out. He dipped them in acids, whatever it
Wow.
was. Literally being trained by the ancients
Oh,
in
wow.
Indonesia.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
He came back and taught.
He came back and created them, and he developed a software program to play them robotically.
Wow.
And he actually has songs pre-programmed, like a playlist of gongs going in
That
various.
sounds amazing.
It is amazing. They're beautiful to see and amazing to listen to. And if you just reach me at stu@onlythesource.com, that's my email address. You can find me on my website, our website as well.
STU.
STU,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm alphabetical.
Yeah.
STU. We'll even probably have it on Facebook as well. But if you want your own copy of it and everything, come say hello. And if you got any new words or any practices that help you to just open your heart and mind to the beauty of our existence, please let me know. And maybe we get to co-create them together, put them into video.
Exactly.
Incorporate them into online coursework or live event practices, because we all have pieces to a puzzle here that can be. I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
I have an inkling
Yeah.
as to what it can feel like kinesthetically, and it brings a great smile to my face.
Huge smile. Yeah, exactly. We have a little touch and feel of what we think that it's
and,
going
and,
to be.
and a little bit of goosebump.
Goosebumps coming up when we think about it. But
Yeah.
participate. Yeah, we're going to throw all of these different neologisms, all these different new words, all these different activities. We're going to pop into the bio for you guys to check out. Reach out again, stu@onlythesource.com. We're going to put his email in the bio as well, so you guys can contribute activities. This has been such a pleasure. We've covered so many different amazing topics and grounds. We're definitely going to have to unpack more on our next conversation. Go check out the content. Again, links in the bio, onlythesource.com. Go check out the content that they have on their site. It's so enriching. Again, huge shout out to River Studios for hosting us in their beautiful space. Thank you,
Yes,
River.
thank you.
Thank you, Dulce.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron Vargas, for crushing it behind the TriCaster and robotic cameras. Awesome job, Ron, our producer and director. And thank you guys for tuning in at home. If you guys have found any of this content to be useful, please like, comment, subscribe, share it with other people. We would love for us to continue propagating this message across the world. And lastly, if you guys would like to support us, we have a Patreon. The link's going to be in the bio. You get tons of cool membership benefits, like you get access to conversations with our guests, you get access to exclusive content, you get early access to live events, and yeah, plenty more benefits. So please do check us out on Patreon. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate you. Stu, thank you so much for
Alan,
coming.
thank you for having me, brother.
So much love.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
much love.
Yeah.
Yeah.